In the world of true crime, names like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer are instantly recognizable. But what about the monsters who lurk in places less covered by Western media? Today, we dive in deep into the chilling story of a man whose reign of terror has been largely forgotten by the outside world. Hassan Gaber, Egypt's forgotten serial killer. Our story begins in the early 2000s, in the bustling, ancient city of Alexandria. On the surface, it's a city of history, culture, and beautiful coastlines. But beneath this veneer, a shadow was growing. Women began to disappear. At first, they were just missing persons reports, scattered and seemingly unrelated. A young woman gone here, another there. In a city of millions, it was easy to dismiss these as isolated incidents. But as the numbers grew, a terrifying pattern started to emerge. The victims were all young women, often from modest backgrounds, who had come to the city seeking work or a better life. They were vulnerable, trusting, and tragically, they all crossed paths with the same predator. The police were baffled. With limited forensic technology and a population on edge, the pressure to find the culprit was immense. The media dubbed the unknown assailant the Beast of Alexandria, a phantom who preyed on the innocent and vanished without a trace. So who was this man, Hassan Gaber? He wasn't a shadowy figure lurking in the alleys. He was a man hiding in plain sight. Gaber worked as a maintenance man and a building guard, or boab, a common profession in Egypt. This job gave him unparalleled access and a veil of respectability. He was a familiar face, a handyman people trusted to enter their homes and buildings. He was married, with children, living a seemingly ordinary life. This duality is what makes his case so bone-chilling. The friendly neighbor by day, the ruthless killer by night. Gaber's method was horrifyingly simple and effective. He would lure his victims, often under the pretext of a job offer needing help with a task. He would bring them to deserted locations, sometimes empty apartments or construction sites where he worked. Once they were isolated, his true nature was revealed. His crimes were brutal, and he would often steal his victims' meager possessions. A cheap mobile phone, a small amount of cash, a piece of jewelry, before disposing of their bodies. The breakthrough in the case didn't come from a high-tech lab, but from classic, painstaking police work and a little bit of luck. Investigators began to connect the disappearances through the victims' mobile phones. They noticed that several of the missing women's phones had been used after they disappeared, and the signals were all traced back to the same general area. They started to build a profile of their suspect, focusing on individuals with access to multiple properties in that district. The net began to close around Hassan Gaber. One of the key pieces of evidence came from a surviving victim. A young woman he had targeted managed to escape his clutches. Her bravery was the turning point that transformed the Beast of Alexandria from a faceless monster into a man with a name and an address. When the police finally raided Hassan Gaber's home and workplaces, they found a trove of damning evidence. They discovered personal belongings of the missing women, identity cards, handbags, and most importantly, the mobile phones he had stolen. The evidence was overwhelming. Faced with the undeniable proof, Gaber's mask of normalcy crumbled. During his interrogation, Hassan Gaber confessed. He calmly recounted his crimes, admitting to the murders of multiple women. The exact number of his victims remains a subject of debate, with some sources claiming as many as 8 or more. His motive? He claimed it was robbery. He said he killed to steal their possessions to support his family. But the sheer brutality of his actions suggested something far darker than simple theft. It pointed to a deep-seated rage and a complete lack of empathy for his fellow human beings. The trial was a media sensation in Egypt. The public was captivated and horrified by the details that emerged. Here was a man who had exploited the trust of his community, using his humble position to commit unspeakable acts. The families of the victims filled the courtroom, demanding justice for their daughters, sisters, and wives. The evidence presented was irrefutable, painting a clear picture of a cold, calculating predator. In 2006, Hassan Gaber was found guilty and sentenced to death. The verdict brought a sense of closure to a city that had lived in fear. His execution marked the end of a terrifying chapter in Alexandria's history. But why is his story not more widely known? Perhaps it's because it unfolded outside the typical true crime narratives we're used to. It's a stark reminder that monsters aren't confined to one country or one culture. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about who we trust and how well we truly know the people around us. The story of the Beast of Alexandria serves as a crucial piece of criminal history. It's a tale of a community gripped by fear, the determined police officers who hunted a phantom, and the monster who lived a double life. It's a story that deserves to be told, not for sensationalism, but as a memorial to the victims, and a warning that evil can wear the most unassuming disguise. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of Egypt's darkest true crime cases. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more forgotten cases from around the world. Let us know in the comments if you've ever heard of this case, or if there are other international true crime stories you'd like us to cover. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.